Hello, downtimers. Hopefully you found some downtime from work today to join me. And I'm going to be talking about what I've painted in the game Scythe. And this is going to be a tell video, but I'm going to tell you exactly from the first step to the last step how I painted these things. And I'm hoping to do a show video later on where I actually get out there with the air compressor and show you how I zenithal these things. I think that the metallic zenithal that I did is the star of these models. So first of all, I had made a short called Polania, and I did some touch up on her hair. I could tell in the video there's places where paint was missing. It's hard to cover the metallic, but SpeedPaint does a good job. SpeedPaint 1 would probably do a better job of reactivating the metallic and getting rid of it, getting rid of that shininess and making it look more flat. But SpeedPaint 2 does a pretty good job too. So just required me to go back and hit it again. Today, the faction that I'm featuring is the Crimean Khanate. So this goes back to a time where Khans were ruling Crimea. And the first thing that I did is with my master air compressor, I did a prime with matte black air from Army Painter primer. And I used their medium that includes flow improver added to it, about 5%. And then I did a zenithal, and this is the first time I've ever done it with straight up just Caliart. I used this Caliart gold yellow to do the zenithal 45 degrees from the bottom all around the molecule. So like this. And then I used Caliart yellow metallic to do 45 degrees from the top. So like this. Right? And it's the first time I've used just Caliart, and I diluted it 50-50 with distilled water. Don't use tap water. And then added 5% of the same Army Painter thinner and flow improver. And it worked out real nice. So there's the gold yellow and the yellow. Now I've gone back and made it look more yellow than just the zenithal. My wife told me it was reading as green. When I put that yellow over the black, which makes sense because yellow and black make green, because it was kind of transparent, right? Then what I did is I used a brush and I thinned all paints further with Army Painter WarPaints stabilizer. And I did the darker part of the feathers on the bird with the same Zealot yellow, SpeedPaint 2.0 Army Painter, Zealot yellow, as I used to touch up the Polania hero's hair. So I did a little bit of the feathers where I wanted them darker, especially on the bottom. Yeah, on the bottom only. With that. Then I went in and used this really nice Vallejo model color transparent yellow. Did more on the feathers, a little bit on the back of this thing that's attached to her bow, and then I used it to make the airship really read as yellow, and I really like the way this transparent paint turned out way better than the white. Nice and smooth, even coverage, really nice, transparent. So I made the airship read more as yellow by doing it on the hull and on the top, and around the rings on the smokestack, and a little bit on the captain's house back here, I guess it is. And then on the bases for the mechs, I did more of that color to make them read as yellow. But mostly the mechs are mostly just the zenithal. I didn't really do too much to them. And for a board game, as my nephew says, it's really good to have these pieces read as yellow, so your opponent knows they're grabbing the right piece, right? For instance, here's one that I'll feature later that I just did the darker zenithal on the bottom and the lighter zenithal on the top, and it's reading more as silver than purple right now, just like the Polania faction. So I'm going to go in and touch them up with paint. Finally, I use Bony Spikes Army Painter WarPaints Fanatics, diluted 50-50. I usually dilute these for the airbrush, or I always dilute these with distilled water 50-50 for the airbrush. And then I'll go back and use this paint too, just because it's easy. I don't really need to use a wet palette. I can use a dry palette when I paint with it, albeit I thin it a little bit more with WarPaints Fanatics WarPaint Stabilizer. And then what I painted was the feathers on the top, highlight, skin, and the beak of the bird. I did more with that. I left her kind of metallic, so not going for as much realism as I'm going for just the really nice zenithal effect, which I just love. And I think that's about it. So again, you can go back and watch my short on Polania, and look forward to my next video on the Tokugawa Shogunate, what's presently Japan. Thank you, downtimers. Please check your subscription status, because I tend to lose subscriptions. I think maybe it's a YouTube thing, I'm not sure. And if you liked anything in the video, please drop a like, and I answer all comments, so that's actually my favorite thing. Thank you very much, and look for the Tokugawa Shogunate, and then the other 4 factions, at least 2 of which I want to do a show video where I get out there with the airbrush and show how I do that zenithal. Thank you, downtimers.